Okay, we're live. So I'm going to move this here, over here really quick. And just going to get started. Here's another Monday. Another Monday. So if you're here and you signed in, you signed up for Web Launch Academy, what you can do is you can sign in. It's that sign in button. Go to collaboration. You go down to group coaching. Continue. Alright, that's my virtual camera, but you should see your other camera. No, brother. Let's say start. Okay, I gotta put that somewhere else. And then you'll be in the meeting there. Alright, so today we are gonna learn how to put our website on a host. So first, let's just take a look at our code. So we open folder, we go down to our project, we hit OK, and it all resets. If you're on a PC, you're going to make sure this is open. And actually, even if you're on a Mac, it's good to keep this open as well as this. For some reason, this can, like, I don't know, it can do some like timeout error or something, and it'll try to reconnect. And having this other window open will make sure, for some reason, it'll make sure both of the WSL2 instances stay open. So just a little pro tip, if you start getting some reconnection issue here, and you'll see like a countdown too. It'll be like reconnecting in whatever number of the countdown. It's probably this. You probably need to open this up. And then, like I said, I don't really know why, but for some reason that keeps it from messing up. And of course, it takes me right to the environment's variables table. So these are now exposed, and I need to, golly, I need to reset them again. So, really great stuff there. So I can do that. I will have to do that, apparently. Yeah, I should have tested that before. Righty. So let's go back in here. And let's go. Yeah, I guess it's probably a good practice if you're doing a video like this to close out of your environments .local file. So you go in here in our project, click on this. We go into Builder Hub, that little wrench icon. And then we say, okay, this thing needs to be reset. Oh, it's not in there. I think we do it here. Regenerate token. This is the main one that you want to do. The other ones aren't that important, I think. But let me just get this window over here. And yeah, one of them says it's the next public Airtable base ID. That one's exposed anyway. But the other ones aren't. However, the other Airtable bases are they're just your the names of your tables. So like, you know, I'll just show this one more time before I change this. But this is not a big deal to have that exposed. In fact, but I don't know, actually maybe it is. I don't know, I'll just change these anyway. Doesn't really make sense though. If I'm showing my tables on on the screen, then you're gonna know what these are, right? So I'll just reset this one. Forget that. Forget all that. So I regenerate token. And I already did this in my other lesson, but yeah, so I'll do it again. Regenerate. So you go in here at these three dots. Regenerate. And then this will show like part of the token. So you know what? I'm going to do that off screen. I'll hit regenerate. It will generate part of it. It's got a nice little copy button on the side, so you can just left click there. And then you obviously highlight the whole and copy it in. And that way we will have everything good. And what I'm also going to do, I'm not going to show you on screen, but what I'm also going to do, so that's reset. These are just my examples. What I'm also going to do is copy all of these, you know, without the comments, without the comment marks. I actually go into my environment local, copy the stuff without the comments. Okay. And then so I'm going to have those. I'm going to have those copied onto my clipboard. And then what we can do is we can go into Vercel. I'm going to start this back from the beginning. So we go into Vercel.com. So let's just say Vercel.com, like that. You'll go into, if you don't have an account, you'll create one. You go into here, add new. For some reason, I don't know if it's my computer or if it's Vercel, but I'm having to reset that window. Okay, then you go to add new project. Okay, not any of these, project. That's the right one. You go into import Git repository. So you click this if you're not already in here. If your Git repository isn't there already, you just add it. And it should be showing you, well, it probably won't be showing you anything. So what you need to do is You need to add one. So let's say, blah, blah, blah. Let's say it said no results. You have to grant Vercel access, right? So whatever this thing is, if you type in your project name, this is not really an existing project name. But if you have a project name in GitHub and you're like, why isn't it going through? Right? You go to github.com. And you say, wait, my project is called like /Ramsey Coach, right? You go in here, it's not in there. Let's just pretend you typed in Ramsey Coach. Well, you have to give it permissions, okay? So you got to configure in your GitHub app. For me, I already did that in another video. I think I did it last week sometime. So we import and project name Ramsey Coach. You can name it something different if you want, but that is what could that's what this name could be. Next.js, yes, we're using Next.js framework, so yes. Root directory, yes. Build and output settings, these are fine. These are all fine. I don't think you need to do anything here. You shouldn't have to. But what you can do is you can copy your environment variables into here just all at once. And so Control V is what you want to do. I'm obviously not going to do that on screen. But just know that you can add them all at once by clicking on the field for the key and pressing Control plus V, or right clicking and doing that. And so now all of my environment variables are in there. And what I can do, I'm going to scroll down. So right now my environment variables are up top. They're all in there on one click. So you don't have to go into here, copy, right? Copy this, put it in the field, paste, copy this, put it in the next field, paste. You can just copy it all at once and it will automatically format it if you hit paste. So then I hit deploy, and let me make sure. Okay, yeah, so it's still showing the environment variables, so I will get out of that. And for some reason I took it out of the window. Let me get those windows back together. There we go. So this can actually take a few tries, but I'll let it run its course like the first few times. But I don't want to spend all day like trying to deploy this. Just know that a lot of times it will take a few tries. But actually this just got created immediately without any tries. That's amazing. I did not think it would I didn't think it would actually work immediately like that. Now we do have some warnings. Usually these are not a problem. But what we can do is we can just copy this. We can copy any build logs here. I actually kind of wanted a build production error. That's unfortunate. So I actually wanted one because it's like, yeah, it could show. Let me actually get one just to show what you do. I mean, well, it's actually fine. What I'll do is, hold on. I'll actually, what you'll find, you know, this little ding, this little bell will show up. Like, there's an error, it failed to deploy, right? Any of these failed to deploy. You click on one. I don't know if it'll show any. Yeah, I'll just go into one. Let me go into one. Yeah. So it's not showing anything. It's not showing anything. So you'll see like this problem here, and you can just copy right here, and then you can paste into Claude code. Man, I really gotta, I keep grabbing these windows in the wrong way. Let me grab this. There. This is the one that's working. So for right now, I just have warnings. So I just copy this, and you'll do the same thing pretty much in if you have an error, and you just paste it onto here. Oh, of course, hold on. I need to go into Claude code first. So if you click out of that window, you'll want to open it back up. You'll want to open a terminal back up. So you go here, you click this little toggle panel here, and you can make it go to the left or to the right if you want, but I like I like making it go down. And then we start Claude, and then enter. Claude code. Let's get rid of that. So there are no more mistakes. Okay, and then you just paste, and you usually see this pasted text, and then you just hit enter. And with no other context, it'll be like, it'll figure it out. It'll know, like, oh, you know, you have this massive error here, or these warnings. Let me, you know, do this. So it's like, yeah, it knows the context completely. You don't have to say, hey, here's a bunch of warnings or any of that. You just copy and paste. Let me make sure my audio is on, right? And if you have any questions, if you have anything to say, remember to go into the portal, sign in, and go into group coaching. But I don't see any comments so far. And I generally don't read the comments on YouTube, Rumble, or Twitch. So, because a lot of those have bots in them and stuff. Okay, so you can see the issue. So it says make changes. So a lot of this stuff, it's like, you know, a lot of these warnings and these errors, it's usually just like formatting errors, and it's like, oh, you need to add this instead of this. And it's like, I have no idea like what it's saying. I have no idea how it knows like what to correct and stuff. Right? So instead of go to previous, it says use callback. Or instead of async rather, it says use callback async. Like I would not know like how to fix that at all. So, and I've had it where I don't know if it's because Claude code got better at Vercel deployment, like things like this, but I used to get so many errors, so many deployment errors. I spent like, I don't know how many hours just redeploying and copying and pasting these errors. And at a certain point, what I did, if you keep getting deployment errors, what you can do is paste the error and then say, hey, make sure to anticipate similar errors. And then what it can do is it will like search for the same kind of error, and it will hopefully go a little bit quicker. Because a lot of times like the errors will show up and there will be like the same format error. And so you can kind of do that. And so yeah, this is all the same. So you just got to keep giving it permissions. It's really freaking out here. Yeah, these glitches are like pretty normal. I don't know why it's normal. I guess it's like reading. It's like reading up through the rest of it and making sure it has all the context, I guess. Like that's kind of what I asked Claude. I was like, why is the terminal like freaking out? Why is it glitching? And it was like, yeah, it's just it needs to read, I guess, up and down. So it has all the context there. Use memo. if you remember, what we did last time was I made sure that it wasn't going to read, edit, or write anything in the environment files. So build is now clean. And so I think we need to do another hold on. Okay, there we go. Close that out. Yeah, I think we need to commit and push again. Okay. So what I'm saying is to save it, is to make these things work, commit and push so that it forces a redeploy. So really all you have to do is say commit and push, but I'm just giving it like extra context, really just for this video. So when you commit and push your changes into GitHub, GitHub will automatically send that over to Vercel. So I hit enter. Now this takes a while, so you don't always want to keep doing this with every little change, right? You can just kind of like save, or you can make a bunch of edits and they'll show up here. And then once you're ready to deploy, you can say, okay, now I'll commit and push all these changes, and then so git push, that's the command that it does. It's basically like saving to GitHub. That's a way to do it. So now we should be seeing so now we see it's building. Building, 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 and you can see the status in here. Building. All that stuff. And now no errors. And so now we have this weird little domain here. So how we change that is we go into I think we go into settings, and I think it's in domains. Yeah, so this is what we do. So if you want to buy a domain here, I guess you can. Buy domain. So let's see. RPC. Unavailable. And then you have rpc.cloud, which is available for $2,500. So probably you don't want to do that. But you could say like RPC Ohio. And that's only $11.25. So you could do Ramsey Preferred Coach, whatever, and then you could buy it and go through that process. I don't really, I don't really care to go through that process really. Let me just go back to dashboard. And we have our Ramsey Coach. And we go back into settings, go into domains. And if you have a domain, you can connect it instead. But for right now, you can have your subdomain working, and you don't need a domain name. It's better to have a domain name for business, like just impression purposes. I think it also affects SEO, but don't quote me on that. The search engine optimization. Don't quote me on that, but what you'll want to do, I should really actually, let's see, you know what I'll do? I will add my old, yeah, let me see if I can figure this out on the fly. So I will add, because I think this would be a good thing. So I'm gonna go to namecheap.com. That's where I have my stuff. Domain list. Oh, that's right. I have that other one on I have that other one on, not on Namecheap. I have it on what's it called? I think is it GoDaddy? Yeah, I think I bought it there. Let me just try to figure this out. Let's see. Oh, that's right. This thing was messing up because I had like, I'm not gonna do this here. Forget that. I wonder if I could just like kind of add a domain. You know what? I'll just do an example. That way you'll kind of get to know what to do in here in Vercel at least. So let's say you have rpcohio.com. So you should add, yeah, redirect to www.com. So you should add both. Let's see, connect to an environment. Yeah, so you want to connect to production environment. this should be, okay, so hold on. First you want to add your www, that's right. So you do that. This will be production. So www.whatever.com will be your environment. Okay, and this goes to that. But what you want to do, you want this, all of these should be permanent redirects. So 308 to www, or yeah, whatever your domain name is, the www dot one. Same with this. So this should also go to redirect 308 to the www.1. Okay. Now I'm not actually going to do that because I don't actually own this. But if I did, that's what I would do. And let's see, I probably should make a video connecting to this. But yeah, I feel like that's going to be a pain. There's not really a reason to transfer a domain either. I'm going to have to go into my account and try to figure all that out. So I'm not really going to do that. I'm not in the mood to do that right now. Okay. But basically, what you want to do, once these are set up, you need to copy these into your hosting service, or not into your hosting, into your domain name service. So how that will look is, I think I don't know if I'm going to be exposing anything important, so I'll tread carefully here. So I'll go back into Namecheap and let me just make sure. Yeah, let me just make sure nothing's here. So if you buy a domain, you go into your domain list. You go into one of them. You want to go into the .com one. Let me just, I think you click manage. So you click manage here. Okay, for some reason nothing's loading in my browser either. I might have to do it in a different browser. to sign in correctly. It's giving me this verification code. Okay, now it finally went in. Okay. Yeah, so once you go into manage, you should be going into here. Okay. So this will see your domain, products, sharing and transfer, and then advanced DNS. You want to be in advanced DNS. So you go in there, click advanced DNS. Oh, you know what? I don't think this is like, I don't think this is anything to worry about. Let me check something here. Yeah, in fact, you can see these these DNS records here. Okay, so you can go into nslookup.io, and I just looked up my records for weblaunchacademy.com, and it shows these are like for sell. Yeah, these are for sell like things. So what you want to do is you want to basically add those into here. So what you want to do is with this, you need to copy and paste into here. So that's your A name. And then you need to copy and paste into this one. So CNAME record, www, and then you put the values in here. So these are the values. This goes with www. This goes with the @ and it's type A name. This is type C name. And so you just put those in there, and that's only if you have a domain name, which I recommend you have. Yeah, so that's that stuff. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Once you put those in there, these should be valid configurations. And then you'll be all set. And then what will happen is you'll have that as part of your deployment. So it's saying this is a domain, but I don't have it purchased, so it's not actually there. Like, you can click on it. Yeah, site can't be reached. So this is the actual one. I should actually probably make those go away. I should probably get those out of there. Actually, just remove, because I don't own them. Now we go back into overview. Go in here. So here's where it resides, ramseycoach.forsell.app. And believe it or not, this is available. You know, you can actually try to look it up. So if you want, here's ramseycoach.forsell.app. And you should be able to find this. And now we can also test. So let's say I open it in a different browser. Right, I don't have it. There it is. And look how quickly it loaded too. So what we can do is we can do our F12, our developer console thing. And if you forgot where that was, you know, use Chrome for testing. It is a Google product. So it's in More Tools. More Tools. And you go into Developer Tools. And then here you go to, you click this little double arrow button. And you can go into Lighthouse. And you can test, you know, with all of these and analyze it. And it'll probably say there's problems with, like, you know, you don't have an actual number. Excuse me. But right away it comes up with 100 performance. That's pretty good. And it is a pretty simple site, but it doesn't have full accessibility, probably because, oh, is that all the only reason? So there's actually a lot of problems with this page. So Lighthouse doesn't get everything. But there is another site that I think I could pull from, which is even better. It does an even better job. And that is, let's go in here. So this is actually something I use, yourwebsitescore.com. And so what you can do a free just preview. Oh, hold on. I don't want to add this as a domain. So right now, this is my website score. It's got 94 because it's really complicated. But the security thing is like another score. And with this, you'll only get this with time. So here's just a free analysis. You can do this yourself. Yourwebsitescore.com. Analyze. Checking authority. This will probably have lower scores. Probably very low. Security scores. Yeah. Pretty bad. Website quality, trust and security. But still a good page speed. So page speed is really good. SEO, best practice. So all this stuff, like, Claude is really great in doing a lot of this stuff immediately. There's not really a problem anywhere. But yeah, website quality is going to get really bad marks. Site map Here's the thing. You wanna create XML document headings. I'm surprised actually some of this stuff is low. But the thing that you can do is you can say like, look, there's all these problems here. Can you do anything about this? Right? So you can copy all of this stuff from here and just paste it into here and see what Claude does with it. Let's see. It can't always do anything about this. Scoring features. So a lot of these things like Twitter, title for Twitter sharing, I don't know why it says Twitter still. It should be X. Comprehensive SEO optimization. So I think it'll mostly give you things that you need to manually do for a lot of those. Project structure, but it is checking the structure and like making sure, like I think it needs to add an XML file which will improve the sitemap score. I didn't really see a lot of other stuff. Okay, so it did actually yeah, create this robots.txt, and that was one of the problems in here. So that was that. So you can literally just copy a lot of the problems that are going on into this, and Claude will figure out how to correct all of it instantly. So it's pretty nice. And I did say I was going to go over like preview and production in Vercel and stuff, but I think this is probably more important. I mean, we went over like domain and how to, build your project and deploy it. So right now that's obviously up and running. People from the other side of the planet can look at your site now. And you just keep on saying, yeah, improve it. And so this is the index.tsx. So yeah, this just, for some reason, when you add these things, it improves the score because it's able to see, like, I don't know, it's like the sitemap or something. It's able to see how to search for it better, like when it comes up in search, generate an ad sitemap. URL, logo. So all this obviously needs to be updated. You can't actually do that. That's not really going to work too well. This is probably actually a good thing to say. So rather than doing this immediately, you'll probably want to update all of your stuff first. So you'll probably want to say like, okay, I want a domain name for sure. And I want to add an actual business name, street address, city, state, zip. And you don't want these on your sitemap stuff either. So what you probably should do is change these before you go into like any scoring system and just copying and pasting, because it will put all of that stuff in here. So we're gonna have to change that again anyway. But so we can verify the build works. And what you can do too is just kind of like make a note of like, hey, this is in this particular version. You can make notes of all of these. If you do change these without modifying your site, without modifying all the information in your site, you can make a note of all of these and say, okay, I'm going to go back and change these once I update my site with all my business stuff. So that way you don't have like Ramsey Coach example, right? It's like an actual name. We're coming up on 8 o'clock, so this is gonna keep doing this. So today we put our stuff on a host. It's viewable around the world. Kind of struggled a little bit with like the domain name and stuff. I didn't have like an example to give, but it is pretty easy. You just copy those values into your domain provider. And okay, so now it automatically did these. So you can even make a note about this. So it's just this thing here. And I wonder if you can like view as list, view as tree. Okay. Can open changes. But yeah, anytime you want, you can just go back in here and be like, oh yeah, I changed these to improve my SEO score, but I actually need to make sure that the right stuff was putting in there. So you can always just update that later. Anyway, it's 8 o'clock. It's past 8 o'clock. So thank you for joining. It's been a good Monday. Let me close in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Help us all to have a good start to the week, and help everyone learning here to be able to get a great website going, and help me to teach them the best practices to do that. In your name I pray, amen. All right, thanks everybody. Goodbye for now. See you tomorrow.